Hello, everybody on YouTube. Leo12 Scar 12 here. Once again, Taylor and Shaquille Pearson speaking. So, here's a new video of Life Discussion 2023. Narcissism. Yes, we all do not like narcissism. Like bullies, abusers, heck, even some people in our families or friendship circles who could be narcissistic. But sometimes we try our best to not get involved in certain things we don't want to be dragged into. But usually, sometimes we ignore that person and cut ties with that person if that person doesn't change for the better. Usually, we are living good lives without narcissism in our lives. So, with this truth being told, here are three ways of how you can get away from narcissism. Number one, never engage in a fight. Sometimes narcissistic individuals usually makes fights, even if it's a bully from school or somebody who's picking a fight with you in school. And usually the narcissism ends in combat. Usually people with this kind of bad opportunity to do this kind of thing usually ends up with bad excuse me. Usually that individual usually gets in serious trouble for picking fights in school. Usually the bully would get a free pass just by lying on the person. They say they did not bully, but then in the long run, the bullied one usually is the victim. And usually that same victim who was bullied will become a predator. Have you ever had figured that you've seen these videos of how a young student usually becomes a predator in the long run because he or she is different? Well, that's how narcissism usually does. It usually involves bullying an innocent person, but then that same innocent person's heart is broken, or that person is literally broken beyond repair. He or she becomes a villain. But then you see this bully was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you." Well, the thing is, how narcissism could help is could hurt that person is literally becoming something that they don't want to be. But in order for this not to happen, is that you don't start fights to begin with, and that usually stops the fights in the long run. So that's number one, never engage in combat. Number two, walk away. Yes, narcissistic people and individuals can usually have the ability to try to hurt that person in a long run. Either they're slurring out verbal names, and usually they'll just like scream at you for nothing you haven't done wrong. But even if you did play by the rules in their way, but usually they'll just do it for the thrill of it because they got nothing good in their lives happening. And usually narcissistic people will do that. And basically, that's how it ends up with people with no good life whatsoever. And those usually narcissistic people ends up ends up getting into serious trouble, like going to juvie or going to jail or prison. Usually those guys usually get the worst out of it because they don't know how to handle their situation at hand. Either it could be from a past history with family or friends, or it could be just the thrill of it because that's how they're making their lifestyle into. So yeah, usually walking away from the situation also helps your mental health and physical health and emotional health as well. Usually it helps keeping you calm. And yeah, that's number two. Number three, healing. Yes, narcissism can usually decay a person from the inside out. However, the only way you would heal from such narcissism is if you cut that person or something that made you become something you don't like out of your life. Yeah, usually it could happen in relationships, it could usually happen in families and in friendship circles. It usually happens. And some narcissism could literally decay that person in the family until the day they either grow old and pass away or worse. And I don't like to sound with the bitterness in here. Their life ended by out of murder, and I don't like to say that. And in a harsh way. Usually narcissism ends like that, with people getting the worst out of it, like a boomerang. What goes around comes back around. So, with that truth being told, it's better for you to never it's better for you to heal from the narcissism that happened in your life, and from many of those who literally put you through a living nightmare, and you had to live through it through decade, not just from just decades, but from days, weeks, months, or even years. So yeah, that is number three. So yes, are you listed in any of, are these things in that are listed in front of you? Are you are these things in the list that influenced you in this wrong situation? Let me know in the comments descriptions below. But if you are familiar with these, let me know. So yes, tune in next time on the next live discussion video. Give this video a like and comment, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more educational videos, okay? And tune in next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you.